Hi, fans of high quality entertainment. So, I have listened to the new Sparks album Mad, which was just released yesterday. I've listened to it 4 times, and I'm ready to give you my initial thoughts on it. It's not going to be a in-depth review. I, I also feel I'm not the best at reviewing music. You know, there's other YouTube channels that do a much better job at doing that. I just love music, and if I love something, I want to let my viewers know about it. And I love, no surprise, I love the new Sparks album. That's my review. Before I just, briefly talk about the songs on this album, sometime in the coming couple of weeks, I believe a few of us Sparks fans are going to be on Monty's entertainment and art site, and we're all going to get together. I'm going to listen to the album a few more times, obviously, as will everybody else. And we're going to get together and talk in depth about Sparks Mad. So please make sure you're subscribed to Monty's entertainment and art site. And a few weeks ago, I was on this channel too, in case you haven't seen it. There it is there. And we were starting to talk already, because some of the new songs had been released. So check that out, please, and make sure you subscribe. It's funny too. Pretty recently, I had, well, when I had the interview with Richie Castellano from Blue Oyster Cult and John Anderson, and at one point I just said about John Anderson, along with Johnny Cash, is the only one, singer that has made me, shed some tears listening to the music. And actually, last night there was a song on here, Lord Have Mercy, which got to my heartstrings. And so I got emotional. I think the one, I've been reading other reviews and everything, and Record Collector gave it a 100 out of 100. Pretty good, pretty good rating. And the one thing somebody commented on when I did a reaction to, a little bit of light banter, they were saying that the one thing they wish is they hadn't released so many of the songs before the album was released. And I do agree with that. But I guess, this is the new age of streaming and everything, and YouTube, and you got to do what you got to do to promote new music. And I just feel it does take away a little bit from the specialness of finally hearing the album, especially when the opening track, Do Things My Own Way, I know very well, because it was the first release from the album. But I'll just say it. I love every song. It's no surprise. And it's not always been this way with Sparks and new albums. So this is their 28th album. And I will be seeing them in Toronto with Molly for the third time in 4 years, which is just amazing. So I feel Sparks have been on a real hot streak ever since Little Beethoven for their studio albums. And I would say it's not even a negative, but the only thing about some of the recent albums is I felt they had maybe 1 or 2 songs too many. Makes for a pretty long album for one sitting. Let's see here. Yeah, 50. Yeah, so Hippopotamus, great album. I'm not saying it's not a great album, but it's 55 minutes long and 15 songs. And A Steady Drip, Drip, Drip was about the same, 54 minutes, 25 seconds, and 14 songs. Yeah. And then with The Girl Is Crying in Her Latte, I think they got it perfect. 47 minutes. So, not as many songs, and there's 14, but, some of them are shorter. And it just makes for, it's like, the old days of vinyl, about 20, 22 minutes per side, 23. And it just makes for, this is just my opinion. I just think it makes for a stronger album. And with the latest one, so that's 47 minutes, 45 minutes. Yeah, under 46 minutes and 12 songs. And it just, I think, especially the last two albums, they just seem to flow much better. And that's one thing I love about the albums. And I'm just rambling, I know. But yeah, The Girl Is Crying in Her Latte. That, I feel, is one of Sparks' best albums. And that's not bad when, they've been putting out albums for all of these years. And I also feel that Mad is as strong. I'm not going to, I can't decide yet, if I was ranking the albums, if Mad would be better than A Girl Is Crying in Her Latte. I need to listen to it a few more times. But I'm just so happy with it. And I've mentioned this, recently, but I think Russell doesn't get enough credit for the production, the engineering of these recent albums. They just seem to be getting better and better. And so props to Russell. And Ron's okay with his lyrics. No, just great lyrics as usual. For those that don't know, I have been a fan of Sparks for 51 years now. And there were some times in my life when it was very lonely being a Sparks fan. I might have one or two friends that, kind of liked them, but that was about it. They were more into like AC/DC and Led Zeppelin, which I like too. But, I was a big Sparks fan and kind of obsessed with them. And with the internet and Edgar Wright and the movie and the documentary, The Sparks Brothers, and the last three Sparks albums going into the top 10 in the UK, they all reached, I think, number 7. I'm just proud of them, I'm proud of my brothers. And I'm so excited to see them, like I said, in Toronto in September. Molly and I have great seats. We're just 4 rows back. So I'll be waving to Ron all through the concert, annoying him. And here is my CD copy. Of course, you can get it on vinyl and multiple formats. And my buddy Morris, who's a big Sparks fan, he'll be happy to know. Yes, there are lyrics. Printed lyrics. I will say, the very first time I listened to the whole album, I was following along with the lyrics, and I did enjoy it. I liked it. But the second listen, I just, okay. Well, I didn't even listen to all of the album, by maybe the halfway mark. I just put the lyric sheet away and said, I'm just going to listen to it. And I enjoyed it much more on the second listen, not following the lyrics. And just like most Sparks albums, every play, for me, it gets better and better. And The songs are so catchy. Russell's in fine form on vocals. My favorite songs at the moment, this is going to be hard to, is everything. But Jan Sport Backpack, so catchy. And what's funny is one of the times I went to visit Molly, I was at the Toronto train station, and standing in line, and there was this girl in front of me, and I noticed that and it said Jan Sport, she had a Jan Sport backpack. I'd never even heard of them before, and then there I am, and oh, that's that Sparks song. Hit Me Baby. I didn't know what that song was about at first, but it's about everything that's going on these days, with in politics and just the world. And some of it's very depressing, at least for some of us. And so the song is kind of like, hit me, keep hitting me to get me out of this reality. Hopefully I'm dreaming. My Devotion is a beautiful song. It's kind of similar to All That. Just a gorgeous song. The other one, like I love all of the songs. Let me get that out of the way. I'm impressed with everything. Just pointing out my favorites at the moment. In Daylight is amazing. If I had to pick two of my favorites right now, let's say three. Jan Sport Backpack, that's hard for me to say. In Daylight, let's say four songs. Drowned in a Sea of Tears. Let's pick 8 of my favorite songs. No, but I wanted to mention the final song, Lord Have Mercy. Yeah, there's no lyrics yet, but it's like I said, I was kind of getting teary-eyed. It's a very moving song, and there's actually a guitar solo somewhere in the song, and it's very cool. It gave me the feeling of Bon Voyage from Propaganda, that ended Propaganda. Yeah, a couple of the songs I still need to, I think I'm going to appreciate more in time. Running Up a Tab, At the Hotel for the Fab, and Don't Dog It. Those are, I'm saying my least favorite, but I still love them. But the other songs I would rank higher at the moment. But it's usually the songs that it takes a few listens to really appreciate that become favorites sometimes. So I'm just, sometimes it just hits me. It's we all have our favorite bands. My favorite band of all time is the Beatles, but Sparks have always been just below the Beatles for me since 1974, and it's been lonely. It's been so lonely, for part of my life. And with the internet and realizing, oh, there's a lot of Sparks fans. It makes me feel good. I feel so happy for Ron and Russell. They've gone through good and bad times, of course, just like everybody has in life. And they just deserve any success they get. And if you haven't checked out Mad, I highly recommend that you do. Even my buddy Glenn Kellaway from the Basement liked, I did a reaction to a little bit of late banter yesterday, and he said he likes it. So yeah, this is just a casual, non-professional review. It's just, a big Sparks fan speaking from the heart. I'm going to get teary-eyed. But that's it. I love the new album. I'm not going to rate it or anything. When, at some point, maybe in a few months, I'm going to rank all of the Sparks albums again. And I have a feeling it's going to be at least in the top 10. So that's my mediocre review of Sparks Mad, which I love. Thank you. I would love your thoughts in the comment section below. And I would love to at some point interview Ron and Russell, maybe before they get to Toronto. I did ask Sparks Management about a month ago, and she was kind enough to write back and just said that, they're very busy, obviously, and they're in the UK at the moment, but just keep me in mind if anybody in the Sparks universe is watching this video. I would love to just talk to them about the new album and the tour and, their musical influences, which I kind of know, but I'd like to dig a little deeper into that. And that's it. Thanks for watching and letting me blabber on for eternity.